Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on Archive D-Style. Here I'll be joined by Sonteo Media and GFunky momentarily. Make sure to throw a jab at the like button if you're tuning in on Archive. Make sure that sucker turns blue. In need of Xanax, I hear you. Okay, he's over here telling me to start early. Well, I'm not your Xanax, but we're definitely here to give you your boxing fix. That's for sure. That's what we're here to do. All right? And check this out, man. We got the one, the only Sonteo Media with us, and of course GFunky with us as well. GFunky over here wearing a Kings jersey, bro. Well, what is this? What are we doing right now? Right? And Sonteo Media with the San Diego Padres. Is that who it is?
That's right, San Diego Padres.
San Diego Padres, bro. Like, I accept that. Over here, we have the Chihuahuas over here in El Paso, and they're actually the minor league team for the Padres. So I could roll with that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who the San Francisco Giants got. Who you guys got, GFunky? Who you got?
I tell you what we got. We got 3 World Series championships in the last 10 years. That's what the Giants got, baby.
Right. We have 7 likes right now. StreamYard's acting a little funny, but hey, Johnny, we got a great show for you. We got a Sulem Urbina coming on, man. That should be very interesting. On our 19th edition, we're going to go ahead and get an interview with her here. She's out of Phoenix, Arizona, 12-0, 1 no contest. So let's talk about that. Vergil Ortiz battered Samuel Vargas. We had Sonteo Media over there in the mix, bro, with a mask and everything, right? It was bizarre watching his interviews with mask and Ali Setback in the background, yelling out questions and stuff. You know what I mean? Hey, Vergil, what do you think about that? Like, oh, man, Ali Setback's been grinding for years, bro. All right, but Sonteo Media out there I have a question, something he talked about when you had him on, man. Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell, official. Gary Russell Jr. is calling out Crawford. Oh, man, I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I'm definitely going to give my opinion on that, man. All right. Mayweather is on this I get no credit tour. I don't know what that's about, to be honest with you. Spence, Danny Garcia on pay-per-view. We're going to give our thoughts on that one. And then UFC booked a pay-per-view on the same day as Tank versus Leo Santa Cruz. Same day. Okay, Khabib Gaethje, right? I don't know. I just know that Gaethje, I saw his last fight, man, but that's shots fired if I've ever seen one, right? So that beef with Espinosa and Dana White, is it real? Looks like it, but we're going to talk about that one. Shout out to everyone listening on the Leave It in the Ring network on demand, all right? Shout out to you guys and that whole nine, all right? Follow me on Twitter at D-Style Boxing. Follow Sonteo Media as well. That's Sonteo_Media, right?
That's right.
And, of course, follow GFunky at GFunky84 on Twitter as well. All right? While we wait here, talk to us, Sonteo, about your experience over there. Quarantine. Did you have to stand 6 feet apart? When you're doing his interviews, is that a rule? Like,
nah.
Were you to keep your distance?
It was in the lobby of the Fantasy Springs
right.
resort. They did take my temperature as I walked in. Mm-hmm. But it was just me and Ellie. Nobody else was there. So I think the only person that really asked Ellie to keep the 6 feet distance was Oscar De La Hoya. It was kind of weird, but he did take his mask off and said, "Hey, if we're 6 to 8 feet, then we can do it without the mask." But no, everybody was cool. Sinisa was cool. I mean, you can see that I got my phone up when I'm interviewing Vergil. I was less than 6 feet apart. We both kept our mask on the majority of the time. Eventually, you have to take your mask off to get a breather, but it is what it is. We're having to deal with this. It's in Southern California, and we got to deal with these rules, right. And we still got the job done.
Well, that was fascinating. I mean, there ain't no way, Alice. Did Alice Setback have a mask on, bro? I could hear that dude screaming from one pillar. Like, that dude was like, "Hey, Vergil!" Like, you could hear the whole thing, bro.
It's a big lobby, and I think it had high ceilings. So
okay.
it was his voice carries.
Man, Ellie's setback's been grinding for over 10 years, bro. All right. But I saw you there. You were there doing your thing as well. Very interesting. And while we wait here, Vergil Ortiz Sr. had a comment that he gave about the crowd, right? And how it sucked the energy out. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, he said he did not expect the no crowd to affect him that way. He thought that Vergil hurt him. I think in the fourth. I think it was in the fourth or in the sixth. And had there been a crowd, that the crowd actually gives the fighter energy and can actually energize a fighter and have him throw combos a little bit harder or go for the kill. So Vergil is definitely a fighter that knows how to finish his guys. He's 16-0 with 16 knockouts. So, but definitely he said that that not having the crowd there might have extended the fight longer than it had the crowd been there.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that was a real thing?
Okay. So having gone to Brad Solomon December at the same place, when he did the ring walk entrance, that place exploded. I mean, he had tenía un corrido. He entered. I don't know the name of it. I have it recorded, but
I could sing it. Like, you want me to sing the song?
Era un corrido, and when he got in, man, everybody got on their feet. People that are ringside stood up, so you could barely see his head. So people are trying to reach over, and it was a sold out crowd. I remember when I arrived, I only got there for like 1 or 2 fights before the main event. There was a huge banner, sold out. You could not buy tickets. If you didn't have a ticket, they're so sorry for you. But I believe it. I believe it because he hurt Brad, and the crowd gets up for that kind of stuff. It's a small venue. I mean, you can probably fit, I don't know, 1,000, maybe 1,000 at the most in there. 2,000. I have no idea, but I went to both. I went to the event when he did have a sold out crowd there in Fantasy Springs, and I can feel the energy. And then if he says it made a difference, it made a difference.
Yeah, man. Look, it's got to make a difference. I would imagine. Because that energy from the crowd has got to be a real thing. Like, too many boxers say that for it not to be a thing. So I can imagine. How do you feel about that, GFunky? You think the fight would have ended earlier with the crowd there?
Nah, I'll be honest. I don't think so. I felt like Ortiz executed well. I know there were some people on social media complaining about him getting hit too much or getting hit in the body too much and things like that. But this is a damn fight at the end of the day. Like, you're going to get hit. Don't step in the damn ring if you don't want to get hit. I think that,
not to cut you off, GFunky, let's get our guest on.
Okay.
Right. So we'll hold that thought. Right. We have a special guest right now. Sulem Urbina, live on Hispanics Causing Panic. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here talking boxing with you all.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. I know it's late. I was looking through your feed. I mean, you're going through a interview tour today. I mean, you're doing interview after interview. What's going on? Are you exhausted?
No, it's always fun talking boxing. And I always say this. I think you got to love every aspect of it if you're in the game, You got to love doing interviews, everything. So I enjoy it. I like talking boxing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're here, man. We're hardcore boxing fans talking boxing, which brings me to this. I have to be honest, I've been watching boxing my whole life. Okay. Since I was a little kid. My dad sat me down to watch Chavez versus Taylor. And I've been watching boxing ever since. But the one thing, like me growing up, even with my grandfather, my uncles, my dad, the girls didn't watch boxing, right?
Yeah.
Like when my dad sat me down, te vas a ser hombre, and he sat me down to watch some boxing, right? And like the girls, I go over there, play your Barbies or something. Like, for you growing up, like,
that was not my house. That was
not your house, right? Okay, talk to us about that. How was it in your house?
In my house, it's like church. Everybody sits down and watches boxing. And my mom, she's that hardcore Mexican lady fan that cheers and yells out all kinds of things. And I grew up like that, in our neighborhood. It was back in the day, you had the little boxes and you had to call in for pay-per-view and all that stuff. And the whole neighborhood would get together and everybody would sit around, de traje. Everybody would bring a little dish here and there, and older people would bring their beer and have a good time. It was like a party. And for me, I loved watching boxing. I was never the little girl that played with Barbies. Never. I mean, I can tell you they gave me Barbies like twice for Christmas and I never even opened them. And after that, they stopped.
Okay. I thought you were going to say you beat up the Barbies. You know what I mean?
I beat up some boys when I was little, but not Barbies.
There you go. You ever made a boy cry when you were a kid?
I have. Yes, I have.
Right. Well, what's going to bring me to this, because I know a lot of hardcore boxing fans, and a lot of them don't watch the women, right? Yeah. And this is a reality. And I have to be honest, that was me for a lot of years till recently, and it didn't hit me till someone told me, and of course I knew, but someone asked me, like, what? I think it was one of my cousins, why isn't there women boxing in the Olympics? Like every other Olympic sport has the female version of it. And boxing is like, besides wrestling, like the second oldest Olympic sport. And it didn't have any women in it.
It didn't. 2012 was the first time they introduced women into the Olympics. And honestly, because of women, boxing was saved in the Olympics, because it was getting to a point where the scoring system was getting so boring. I mean, somebody would touch a little punch and then run around the ring the whole night, and nobody wanted to see that,
Yeah, it was like fencing with gloves, right?
Mm-hmm. It was boring, not entertaining. And they changed the scoring system. They introduced the women into it, and honestly, women saved it. Ended up getting a huge audience, and I mean, since then, it's women's boxing in the United States has picked up a lot.
Yes, look, to me, it's like the economy. There's supply and there's demand. And a lot of us boxing fans, we blame, and we got to take responsibility for this ourselves. We blame the promoters, we blame the networks, but I think the fans need to demand that the women get more shine, right? Like the fan. How do you feel about that?
I think, obviously, look, here's the thing. In Mexico and Argentina and Europe and China, there's women on every televised card. Women, I debuted as a co-main event to Neri. I mean, most of my fights have been televised on Box Azteca prior to me coming to the United States and working with Golden Boy. Something that people got to realize is USA is not the first at everything. They're still playing catch up with women's boxing, because for a long time, women's boxing just fell off the map here in the United States. You had Christy Martin, Layla Ali, all those girls, it was shining, it was booming, and then it was dead. In other countries, it's very respected. I show up in Mexico and I'm a celebrity. Here, I'm a small fish in a big pond. It's the respect, the way people look at us, but you can't blame them. I mean, they haven't seen those great fights. I mean, I'm going to ask you, have you seen Ana Maria Torres versus Jackie Nava fight?
I don't believe. If I did, I remember. You know what I mean?
And those are classics. Those are women's classic boxing fights, and they have a trilogy. They're one of some of the fights that opened up the doors for women to be televised in Mexico. Now, everything is on the promoters here in the United States. If they showcase us, if they show good fights, then the crowd will watch, and the crowd, will demand more women. It's just you have to put us on these big cards on DAZN, on ESPN, on hopefully PBC gets on board and gets some girls on Showtime. I mean, we have Clarissa Shields, who's doing amazing. Katie Taylor with Matchroom. I mean, it's picking up a lot here in the United States, but hopefully more fights, more competitive fights are made. And I mean, all eyes on us. That's what UFC has done with MMA.
Yeah, I think the mentality of the whole I don't want to watch the women. I think that's an old dinosaur that needs to get out. Because anytime someone asks me, well, why do you love boxing? I love the warrior spirit. They go out there, they put it on the line. Well, that applies to the women as well. And I think that's fair to say. GFunky, got any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple questions I want to ask. First, I want to say thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No sweat. So I just want to ask you about how do you feel about the women's boxing only being 2-minute rounds? Like, do you think it should be extended to 3? Because I think that it would give fans more of a display of women's skills. Because for me, 2 minutes is just not enough time, to go in there and show what you got, execute a game plan. And plus, I think that it would create more knockouts, which is more exciting, which is what boxing fans love. So, what do you think about that?
But do they want more knockouts? Because then once Anissa goes in there and knocks somebody out in the first round, then everybody complains. So I mean, who gets? Do you want knockouts or do you not want knockouts? No, it's something that I had to say, had to put it out there. I think for me personally, as a boxer, we always want to fight more. We always want to fight more, and an extra minute in what I've experienced, I would have had more knockouts. My last fight, I don't know if you guys saw it. I fought Noemi Bosques, and I had her hurt about 4 times in the fight, and then the bell would ring and she would recover. And we ended up going the distance. That extra minute would help me get that knockout, and my opponent or our opponents get less damage. But I mean, I'm not a scientist. People say we are different. We're physically different. That's true. There's you don't have to be a scientist to realize that. I hope that we do fight 3 minutes, but if we do fight 3 minutes, pay us more. Cause hey, I don't want to be fighting an extra minute for the same amount of money either. Extra free minute, I don't think so.
That's right. And I think if I'm not mistaken, there was a female fight on the Canelo Kovalev undercard. I think that was those are 3-minute rounds, right?
There's been a few. I think Layla McCarter was the first one, I believe, like in 2007. I'm not sure exactly about the date. Layla McCarter's done it. Sinisa and Marlene Estrada have Marlene Esparza have done it. So it's been done before. And more organizations are agreeing to do it. It just it depends now on the WBC, I guess. And I mean, I'm all for it. Whatever it is, if it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, let's get it on.
That's the fighter spirit I like to hear right there, So my second and last question to you would be about the boxing business, how it's traditionally been, the boys club, and do you feel like that model affects the way that female fighters are marketed today?
I think obviously it's a male-dominated sport. It definitely affects us, but I mean, we gotta be more than just boxing. We gotta be marketable. We gotta get out there. We gotta do the legwork. We can't just sit there and expect just to be handed things. I mean, we're still fairly new in the market, and we still got a long way to go. And I mean, it affects us, but hey, you got to put in the work.
Right. That's it. That's all I want to ask. Thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sulem, nice to meet you. I actually traveled last February to Tijuana, and I saw you fight. And,
that's awesome.
And I saw I tagged you on a post recently, and you responded. So that was awesome. I wanted to ask you. Let me see. The question I want to ask you is, how soon can we get La Barbie versus Jackie Nava before that gets too far away from us?
I mean, I hope soon. I mean, they've been talking about this fight for quite some time, and I know Jackie Nava wants it really bad. I don't know. Barbie can sometimes be a complicated person. I know that right now, it's kind of difficult to make these big fights, but Oh, sorry.
Sure.
It's difficult to make these fights, but I hope soon. I mean, within the next year, they are getting older, and I hope we get to see it because it's a fight that's been brewing for quite some time.
When I was doing my research on you, I was on BoxRec and I flipped over to your amateur record and I actually saw that I think it was in 2012 that you fought Marlon Esparza. Do you remember that fight in the amateurs?
Actually, yes, we fought 3 times. We fought when I was fairly new in boxing. I think it was like 2007, and she won. It was a very good fight. It was at the Golden Gloves in Florida, and we ended up getting the fight of the night. And then after that, we fought twice in the international scene. Once I finally got some experience in, and I was on the Mexican national team, and she was on the American national. There's some video on YouTube of our fights. I think we're actually made for each other for one reason or another. You know, we raise each other's level every time we fight, and they're always very entertaining fights. Unfortunately, I mean, I didn't get any of the decisions, but it's the pros. It's gonna happen, and when it happens, it's gonna be a different story.
What's your opinion of the fight between her, Marlon Esparza, and Sinisa that we got last year?
I think Sinisa practically won every round. I mean, I gave Marlene, I think, the 3rd round when she started moving around. She boxed a little better, but other than that, Sinisa went in there. She dominated right away. Started catching her with some vicious body shots, and you can see the wear and tear on Marlene. And then, you know, there was a headbutt. A lot is said about the headbutt. I mean, it was, both women were coming in with their head, and Marlene's style, she comes in with the head a lot. So I mean, it happens. It's accidental, but it was a great fight. You know, I think it was the fight of the night. Had it not been for that fight, I don't think the card would have been as successful. It was a fight that was brewing for quite some time, and me as a fan, I couldn't have had missed it. I loved it, and I enjoyed watching it, and maybe they'll run it back.
Now, the majority of your fights have been in Mexico, but you've already made the crossover. If I looked at your record, you've made the crossover to Indio there at the Fantasy Springs. How was that transition?
It was amazing. I mean, I'm very grateful where I started my career with Sanford. They did a great job with me, televising me on Box Azteca. You know, I had El Campeón Mexicano Julio Cesar Chavez right there from my first fight, you know, and that's great motivation. But it was time to, you know, make the jump. You know, everybody wants to come to fight to the United States, and I'm finally here, and I'm very thankful for Golden Boy. We haven't officially signed our contract, but we stay in contact, and Corona got in the way of our plans a little bit, but I should be getting a fight date pretty soon. Obviously, it's a dream come true fighting here in the United States. I grew up here undocumented, and now I'm here finally legally. And my mother can't travel out to see me fight as a pro in Mexico. So this was the first time she was actually at one of my fights. And I could hear her yelling from the crowd, you know. She's like, dale, mija, dale. And you can actually hear her in the streaming if you rewatch the fight, you know. It was a very special moment for me. A lot of friends and family from Phoenix, Arizona went out to Indio, and you know, I'm excited for what the road holds ahead of me.
I remember in that little clip that I have when I recorded the last 10 seconds of your fight, but it brought me back to where I was sitting, and there was somebody, a female next to me, who screamed your name the entire fight. Go Sulem, go! And I could remember that. So a lot of people travel to see you. Now, you mentioned something about okay, so you were born in Hermosillo, Sonora, because my dad is from Empalme, which is right next to Guaymas.
Yeah.
How, do you travel? I mean, how does that? Do you travel a lot back to Hermosillo?
I was born in Hermosillo, and my parents brought me here. I still remember when I crossed the border illegally. I was 5 years old, and I got here, and you know, my parents just wanted to give us a better life. We were never able to go back to Mexico because we didn't have paperwork to be able to get back into the United States. My brothers, I have two older brothers and two younger brothers, and my parents, and we all live here. When I came of age, when I was 18, when I turned 18, I decided to leave to Mexico and to actually see for the first time my homeland. And I wasn't able to come back, but I was chasing that dream of being a Mexican national champion at the time because I was still amateur and I couldn't fight here in the United States. I made it happen. I stayed out there in Mexico for quite some time, and I got to know my roots. I got to just travel all around Mexico, the great food, the great people, the hospitality. It's a whole different story. Being Mexican in the United States is different than being Mexican in Mexico. I love it. I mean, I get the best of both worlds. I get to, you know, um, be very knowledgeable of everything that happens, being discriminated here in the United States because I'm Mexican, and going to Mexico and being, completely fine with it, not being scared of driving a car because I am Mexican. So it's a great experience for me. Thanks to boxing, I get to travel the world.
Thank you, and hopefully I'll be able to get to one of your fights again. Dista.
Absolutely. Just some quick questions from the fans here. Chicano Prophet wants to thank you for coming on, and it says, "Can you tell us about deciding to turn professional and your trainer and your team?"
So I decided to turn pro in 2016. In 2016, I fell short from qualifying to the Olympics. I had been competing international, representing Mexico for 4 years. And I went to Argentina to the America's Olympic qualifiers. I fell short from qualifying right there I think in the quarterfinals. And after that, I was kind of cheated out of my spot to go to the World Championships and try to qualify a second time. So I came home. I felt that the training in Mexico had only regressed my boxing skills, and I needed to be home and get back to where I was. I am married to my coach. So to me, he's the best coach in the world. We have a great chemistry. I understand him very well, and he knows how to bring out the best in me. I train with him. I hate him in the gym, but I love him when I win. So it works out great. I'm practically married to boxing.
Yep, pretty much.
Wow.
88, 88 Sports Talk wants to know, are women more aggressive sometimes than the man because it's only 2 minutes?
I don't think it's only because of the 2 minutes. Obviously, you do have a short amount of time, so you got to get that work in. But it's also something that us women are feisty. I mean, if you have a wife, you should know it. You tell her something, she'll snap right back at you. So we're very competitive, and right away, if somebody gets hit with something, and it's fireworks from there on out. It's all business. It's ready to fight. Once the bell rings, it's go time.
Especially if you're married to a Latina.
We're feisty. We're feisty.
Yeah, man. One more thing I want to ask you here, and it's because it's not so much a question, but I want you to kind of say something. So when it comes to boxing fans, 'cause I have subscribers, many of them don't watch the women. They just flat out say, I don't want to watch women get bloodied up, or I just don't want to see it, whatever it is, right? Some of them are a little sexist about it, if we're honest, you know what I mean? Well, whatever it is, why should, fans demand that there's more women boxing on TV? Like, what message do you have to everyone listening live right now on Hispanics Causing Panic, on Archive, and for everyone listening on the Leave It in the Ring network? What message do you have to those fans?
Well, to those fans that support us, I appreciate you. And to those that don't want to watch women's boxing because we're women or whatever it is, are you going to tell your daughters in the future that they can't do something? Are you going to tell your granddaughter, your daughters, your nieces, that they shouldn't do something because they are women? Just think about that. Take it like that. I mean, it goes back to home. if you think somebody can't do something because of their sex, then you're really not growing in this society.
Absolutely. Well said. Tell everybody where they could find you on social media.
I keep it simple. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sulem Urbina, and I do my best to reply to everybody and stay active on there. I appreciate everybody's support, and I try to not only show boxing, but I feel like I'm more than just an athlete, and I speak on topics that I feel very strongly about, and just follow me on there.
There you go. She's causing panic all over the place. Well, just a quick question. Is there a promoter you think does a good job promoting women's boxing in the USA?
I think Golden Boy is doing a great job. I think they have the most women here in the U.S. I mean, they have Sinisa, Marlene, Franchon Cruz. They've had Marisela Cornejo in the past, myself. Then you have Top Rank doing a great job with Michaela Mayer. Unfortunately, they only have one girl. Hopefully, they get on board with signing more women. And then Eddie Hearn, he has Jessica McCaskill and Cecilia Barricos. They're fighting, I believe, in a couple of weeks here in the U.S. So, I mean, those big three are doing a great job. And hopefully they keep promoting a lot of women. And I think that's the only way we're going to start changing mentalities.
Absolutely. Marlene Estrada, it is her birthday. Do you have
Marlene
a birthday?
Esparza. Yeah.
Marlene Esparza. Yeah, Esparza. I'm sorry. Do you have a birthday message for her? Like, do you want to fight her in the future? Like,
of course. I think it's a fight that's definitely going to happen. We've fought in the amateurs. We bring out the best in each other, and it's a great fight. And happy birthday. But when we fight, I'm going to beat you.
Ooh, there you go. Happy birthday to you. I want to thank you for coming on. Hispanics Causing Panic. We want to have you back on in the future. Right? Don't forget about us when you win the world championship. You know what I mean?
Never. I appreciate you all so much. I mean, without media, we don't get to where we are, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to speak with me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. There you go, guys. That was Sulem Urbina joining us here on the July 29th edition of Hispanics Causing Panic. And there you go. All right. And, man, we got a lot more to talk about. Shout out to everybody listening on the Leave It in the Ring network. All right. We'll be on demand there. All right. Pretty soon. I didn't get to all of your questions. Neil Security, she did address that. All right. So there you go. Vergil Ortiz, GFunky, you were talking to me. It doesn't matter. You said, I don't care if there is no crowd or none of that. Like you were saying, you either get in there, knock a dude out. Y'all don't need y'all don't need a crowd. Like, go ahead and finish your point there.
Yeah, I was just saying that I don't think it mattered. I think he would have stopped the dude anyway, whether it was, what was this, round 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't think it matters, man. I think he beats him anyway and stops him. Although I will say that the way that it ended, kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But other than that, I don't think it mattered, man. And I'm not making a big deal out of him getting hit to the body like some of these guys were. Like I said, this is a fight, and you're gonna get hit. So let's kind of move past this Mayweather thing where people were he was such a good defensive fighter. There's times you get in there, he rarely get hit cleanly. People think if you get touched a few times, like you're a bad fighter or you had a bad performance or something. Like, dude, this is a fight. You're gonna get hit. So let's kind of just push that to the side now. Mayweather's retired, and we'll just leave it to the guys who are here now. But I felt it didn't matter, man.
Yeah. Plus, Mayweather did get hit. We'll talk about him later, but this whole thing he never got hit is a myth, bro. All right. But yeah, Sonteo, man, I know you also interviewed Vergil Jr. All right, Vergil Ortiz Jr. That's VE, guys. But anyway, what did he tell you, man, in that interview?
He said that it doesn't matter to him whether the crowd was there or not. When he's there, he's focused. He's got a job to do. He's trying to get him out of there. it was his dad that actually said that it was a big difference. That usually in his fights, when he hurts someone, that gives his son energy, and it might convince a ref to stop it, or it might give his son more energy, or the other guy might start playing more defense, which opens up more openings. So Vergil Sr. says it sucked the energy out of the fight. He says it doesn't. Vergil himself said it didn't matter.
Well, there you go. You know what I mean? So that's that, man. What you think about the actual his performance there, man? Sonteo, well, how do you think he looked in the ring from your vantage?
I think he looked phenomenal. I wrote down notes as I was watching it. I was in the hotel room, away from the Fantasy Springs, and I wrote a few notes down. I liked a lot of stuff that was happening in there. I like how he moves his. I like how he moves his head out of the way of punches. That's something that I picked up on. I like his footwork. His footwork was phenomenal. He does that sidestep just like Loma does, and will hit you from the side. I think he did great. Something that a lot of people might not know is that his boxing trainer was not in the corner with him. He's trained by Robert Garcia from Riverside with the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, and Robert tested positive for COVID on the initial exam.
That's right.
He got tested again and came up negative. But when everybody put their heads together, Golden Boy Promotions, him and Team Ortiz, they decided that it would be okay, that it would be better if Robert sat this one out. Luckily, Vergil Ortiz Sr. has been with his son since he was 5 years old, and Hector Beltran, who's an assistant to Vergil Ortiz Sr., has been with him since the amateurs. And a week before the fight, I think Ellie put out a video of Ryan Garcia versus Vergil. And even in that fight, it was Hector Beltran who was in the corner. Vergil, for some reason, had to work that weekend, and the tournament was over the weekend, or it was away. So Hector Beltran's been with them since the amateurs. So that's, when Vergil's surrounded his son with great people, so they were able to get the job done.
Yeah, you guys subscribe to Sonteo Media, man. He's got those interviews on there because you guys can check out more of that content. I mean, this dude, like, he got a hotel. You just heard the dude, he got a hotel. You guys can give him a view. Go to his channel, subscribe to his channel. All right. He didn't stay 6 feet away from the Ortizes, though. You know what I mean? Actually, we got to stay 6 feet apart, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I know you got COVID over here, but in all seriousness, man, great stuff. GFunky, what you think? Now, you told me about the guys talking about him getting hit, but what you think about him getting hit?
I don't think it's a big deal, man, at all. This is a part of the game, man. It's called the hurt business. You know, you're gonna go in there, you're gonna get hit. You know, you're gonna get hurt sometimes. Like, that's just part of the sport, man. I agree with some of the things that Sonteo just said. The angles that he was using when he had Vargas against the ropes, man, that was a thing of beauty. I like how he was able to counter Vargas's attacks to the body, because he made a comment before the fight saying that he thought that Ortiz struggled to make weight. We know that he had to strip down naked on the scale to make 147, but he said, hey, I think he struggled. So he said, I'm going to go to the body, which is a smart thing to do if you think somebody struggled to make weight. But I like how he was able to take those body shots. I like how he was able to counter him. He countered him with a lot of left hooks while he was trying to land. He's trying to land straight right hands to Vergil's body. Vergil said, okay, you're going to lean. You're going to come in at a distance. I'm going to pop you with this left hook while you come in. So I felt like he made the proper adjustments. I only gave Vargas one round. I believe that was round 5. I just felt like Ortiz took a round off there, might have got a little tired and said, you know what, I'm going to take this round off. He came back the next 2 rounds strong, ended up stopping him in the 7th. So, I don't have any real criticisms. He's still young. He's 16-0 with 16 knockouts. And, I think he's on his way, man. No doubt about it.
Look, he won, but like, I feel like he dominated. I watched him dominate the fight. I was like, they got to stop this. This dude is getting battered. Samuel Vargas is that guy they got to save from himself. He ain't gonna quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's not. Even that, I went back and I saw the Errol Spence fight. You know, that he was still on his feet and he was complaining to the ref when he stopped that fight. This dude ain't gonna stop coming. Shout out to BFTB, by the way. Says salute, bro. I appreciate the support. Right? So Urbina on here says, thank you so much for having me on. Absolutely. Welcome to come back anytime. All right. I thought it was a phenomenal. I thought he looked great. And I got to be honest, like, look, man, you're going to get hit. Dudes want people to go out there and not get hit. You know what it is? It's flawless victory syndrome, right? You want a guy to go out there and be like the Matrix and dodge each and every punch. Man, that ain't, especially with Vergil Ortiz's style, he's going to get hit, right? There's certain styles where you get hit, but guess what? You know what I mean? Like you're going to dish out more punishment to that guy. And I thought, like, Vergil Ortiz felt him out in the first 2 rounds. Like, he knew what he was in there against. He knew how much he could get hit and withstand. He controlled that fight throughout. I don't even think he went past third gear in that fight, to be honest with you. There's more gears he's got. He didn't even need to do that. But he just basically looked like he was battering the guy, right? Yes, he got hit to the body. So who doesn't get hit to the body? Everybody gets hit to the body. Andre Ward was on queer streak before he won his world title. Right? All right, he got hurt. Mayweather, everybody mentions Mayweather. Oh, Mayweather, he never got hit. Like, what are you talking about? The Drunken Master had him like fucking wobbling all over the place. Chop Corley hurt him. What are you guys talking about? This was before, you know what I mean? Like, these were not guys that you expected, you know, to see, you know, do a lot of damage here. I'm just saying. Now, time is on his side. Have you guys heard that song? Time is on my side. You know, have you guys heard that song?
Oh yeah.
Now, I don't listen to that type of music, by the way. Everybody, what's on this playlist, right? I heard it on a commercial once. All right, let me delete that shit from my phone before I get discovered. Hold on. No, but in all seriousness, he's got time. He's young. He's young. All right, but even then, this dude's got a better resume than a lot of the champions out there right now. They put Orozco on Ramirez's resume. Why is he on Ortiz's resume?
Right.
And it beat him better. Orozco, like, he gave Ramirez a really good fight. People forget about that. Okay? So I'm just, what's the cat's name? His name escaped me. The guy that beat Danny Garcia for real.
Mauricio Herrera.
Herrera. Yeah, like, you know, everybody knows he won that fight against Garcia. They put, like, you don't do that to Mauricio Herrera. You don't just destroy that dude like that. All right? You don't just do that to that guy, man. He beat him up so bad I forgot his name. All right? Nah, but his name slipped my mind. But at the end of the day, I mean, he was doing his thing, man. Vergil looked phenomenal. I'm telling you, this dude right now, put him with Keith Thurman right now. I'd favor him right now.
Woo! Let's
You
do
want to
it.
say he got hit to the body? Wait till he hits Keith Thurman to the body. You want to go body to body, Keith Thurman? Let's do it. I love that fight right now. Let's do it right now. But he don't even have to do it right now. He don't even have to do it right now. He's got time. Okay. Ortiz, Danny Swift Garcia, maybe. I mean, Danny, he's already, we're going to talk about that, but he's already signed. I thought Vergil looked good, man. And sometimes guys don't want to pull the trigger on saying this guy's a real deal, you know, but I'm telling you right now, he's a real deal. He's a real deal. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now. Right. So I don't know, man. Tone Brown says Vergil Ortiz will retire Keith Thurman. Yeah. There you go. Herrera did it. I agree, 88 Sports Talk. I thought he should have gotten that win against Danny. You know? So like that's a Mauricio Herrera beat didn't he also beat Provodnikov? Am I remembering?
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody fact check that for me. Provodnikov Herrera. Go ahead and fact check that. I don't have a fact checker anymore. Dude retired, bro. AJ10 went to his farmland, bro. He's retired, bro. I don't know. He's like Vicente Fernandez from the Gallo song. Like he took his Gallo to his rancho, bro. He's done. Okay? You know, BFTV says Vergil and Danny Swift is a good fight. Vergil versus Thurman is a good fight. I want Vergil to fight a few guys, then fight nothing but top fighters. That's right. But look, I'm consistent. If Vergil wants a title shot now and he wins the title, I'm going to ask him to fight all the best fighters. All right, just like I ask everybody else. I'm not gonna treat him with kid gloves. All right, like some of y'all fanboys over there do. Okay. Like some of you Canelo fans do. I'm just throwing some shots, but
boy.
But I'm but anyway. I thought he looked great. And that's that. You know what I mean? And that's that. So with that said, I agree. I don't know I don't know. My answer is I don't know if the crowd made a difference or not. I just don't know. But if I were to guess, I don't think it did. But what do I know? You know what I mean? Right? No Pop Boxianos go hard on him. HCP. Look at that. He's changing his tone now. Shout out to No Paul. GFunky is a Canelo super fan since Joe Lopez 40 ounce. What's up, GFunky?
Well, you know, I got the Canelo Power shirt, so maybe that might have led to that comment there. But Canelo's a good fighter, man. But you know, am I a fan? No, I'm not. But I'm not a fan of any fighter right now. So you know,
hey, Chicano Prophet's my new. I'm just gonna call him the new fact checker, bro. Okay, like he's like, God damn, he went from prophet to fan checker, like just like that. You know what I mean? Like. Hey, being hey, GFunky, isn't it like a prestigious title to be the official fact checker of HCP? Isn't that like a thing?
Damn right it is.
Because what's his name? Night to a Cool was like, I'm the new fact checker, but the dude shows up mid-show. You can't show mid-show and be the fact checker, bro.
Yeah, this guy's not punctual, man. So I don't know, man. Might have to give him his walking papers, you know?
That's right. Right. But I don't know if it made a difference or not. Like Vergil Ortiz Jr. said it didn't. His dad Senior said it did. I don't know, man. All right. Sulem's a boxer. She says it's not bad having a crowd. You can hear your corner better. There you go. All right. You can hear your corner better.
The problem with that is you can hear the other guy's corner too.
Right. Well, that's good. That's like, hit it with a right. Oh, you already know the move.
You already know what's coming.
And the bad thing about it too is that you can hear Jack Reese wanting to have a conversation with Vargas and Ortiz in the middle of a fight because the guy did a beautiful pivot move on him. Like, I mean, that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like, I'm thinking this guy's gonna pull out a table, get some coffee. Hey, let's talk about it. You know, let's decide if this is real or not. You know, if this is okay. Like, get out of here, man.
Man, the dudes are like, oh, he got hit. Mayweather never got hit. What are you guys talking about? Drunken Master had that dude like he was like doing the Macarena in the middle of the ring. All right? What are you talking about? Anyway, man, get out of here. Maidana caught him with a like freaking counter right. Maidana countered him with a right. Okay? But anyway, shout out to Marcos Maidana, by the way. I saw some stuff, bro, where he was like Cuadrado, bro. He was like in shape. You know, he got big and stuff after he made his few mil, but went to Argentina, a couple cigars, had a good time, but I'm wondering, like, is he really Cuadrado or is that like a filter? You know what I mean? It's like he had more six packs than he had in his prime. I'm like, dude, you don't got that many six packs, bro.
Exactly. Well, I tell you what, man, if he's got some sort of app or filter that can do that, I need that link, boy.
That's right. I need that. Jeez.
He had 2 extra cuadrados. Like, it's too much.
Yeah. He looked at the dudes from 300, bro. Like, it was painted on and shit. Like, God damn, Maidana, what the hell? You look better than you were 25, bro. What's going on over here? Like, you know, but I'm like, I'm coming back. Like, I don't know, man.
Is he coming back at heavyweight or what?
Well, he looked like in the best shape of his life from the photo I saw. Like, I don't even know what to believe nowadays.
Yeah, he looked big. I seen it.
Yeah, he looked really big, right? Hey, before we move on, man, let's have an honest conversation about the way we felt about women's boxing before and how we feel about it now. I'll start, okay? So when I was growing up, I mean, women boxing just wasn't a thing. Like they would put us in the backyard, bro. Like they would put, like we'd be fighting in the backyard, and that was allowed. Like our parents would let us do that. Like that's like a lot of my like my nephews, like the thought of them boxing is like foreign. Like, you know what I mean? There's no way their moms and dads are gonna let them just fight. You know what I mean? But and then it's crazy. I remember us hitting each other hard, bro, and I think we knocked each other out a couple times. Probably give us some concussion. That's why probably crazy and shit. But anyway, but you know, just, and it's not like I did it on purpose. It's just like television following boxing. One, they weren't putting it on TV. You know, you occasionally get a Christy Martin fight, a Layla Ali fight, Lucia Riker here and there, and I can't really think of much more. You know, Holly Holm was from here, and like I couldn't catch her fights on TV. She's like a 3-hour drive, Albuquerque, bro. You know what I mean? Couldn't see her fights, so it's didn't follow it. You know, and once in a while I'll catch a fight, and I'll be like, yeah, okay. And even if I enjoyed it, it's not like I said, oh, what's your name? Okay, I'm going to start following her now. It was just a fight I saw on TV, and I moved on. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until, you know, men's boxing, who, by the way, she's correct. They were going to remove men's boxing or boxing in general from the Olympics because AIBA was, first of all, was corrupt as shit. Okay. The point system was retarded, bro. Like if you landed a punch on a dude, you know, all 3 judges or 4, something stupid, all had to press a button. Like 3 out of 4 of them had to press a button for the punch to count, which was the dumbest thing I ever seen. You know what I mean? And so they were going to get rid of it, bro. And plus, AIBA was corrupt. A bunch of, like, dude, it was horrible. Like, there will be a dude landing combinations, and he'll get like 2 points. And like another guy will miss 3 punches and 4 points all of a sudden. It was the craziest thing. But anyway, women's boxing came in, and it actually gave the networks a reason to show boxing. And I remember Clarissa Shields on CNBC like being featured. Okay, Esparza was being featured too. Like she was being featured even heavier than Clarissa Shields, right? Like she was the one getting the sponsors and stuff, right? But yeah, that did kind of help. It kind of gave a reason to keep boxing around. But it is crazy that it wasn't in the Olympics. And you know, just in recent time, you're starting to catch on to it more now. You know what I mean? And absolutely, Sulem, we're going to start watching your fights now for sure. They got to air them though. You know what I mean? But Chief Funky, how did you feel about women's boxing growing up, and how do you feel about it now? Be honest.
Man, honestly, growing up, you know, pretty much the same, man. You know, you and I kind of had the same introduction to boxing. Occasionally you would see Christy Martin on the undercard, or, you know, later on it was the Mia St. John's and Lucia Rikers, Layla Ali, and Wolf, obviously, you know. But man, it's I don't know, man. First I was like, you know, I was that traditional dude, like, you know, I didn't like to see women getting hit, even if it was another woman hitting her, you know, watching them get hurt, bloodied, get knocked down, get knocked out, you know, it just did something to my soul, you know, because I was always one of those guys that, you know, I protect women. You know, I feel like that's a man's job, to protect a woman. And even though I understand it's a sport, you know, and these women are highly skilled and they're highly trained in what they do, it's still messed me up for a little bit, you know, to see it. But as I've gotten older now, I've kind of, you know, evolved into, you know, I actually like it. The other fights, you know, sometimes they're entertaining, just like the men's, you know, sometimes we'll get very good entertaining fights. We'll get very boring fights. It's the same way, you know, but, yeah, I wish it would get more exposure, because I'm a hardcore fan, man. I'm a big time hardcore fan, and I've never seen Sulem alive. And, you know, I went back and watched her fights, you know, but I've never seen her live before. And like, that's, to me, I'm like, wow, that's crazy, because I'm always looking for fights to watch, you know, no matter what. So I think that's terrible, man, that they don't get enough exposure. And I hope that in the future they do, man. But I'm all for it now. When I was a little bit younger, not so much though, you know.
That's right, guys. Tune in to the July 29th edition of Hispanics Causing Panic. Shout out to everybody joining live. Make sure you throw a jab at the like button. If you're watching on archive as well, make sure it turns blue. And shout out to everyone that's going to be listening on the Leave It in the Ring network on demand. Shout out to them, by the way. They weren't on this Monday, but every Monday you can catch Leave It in the Ring and subscribe to their channel. Speaking of subscribing, subscribe to Sonteo Media. All right. Sonteo, man, what's your story with women's boxing?
Same as you guys. I grew up watching Christy Martin knock out other girls on Chavez Senior's undercards. But I think Sulem, with her mentioning, you know, what Top Rank's doing with Michaela Meyer and what Matchroom is doing with Katie Taylor and Salita with Showtime, with that network Showtime with Clarissa Shields, we're hitting a nice wave, you know. But like she said, they got one or two, but Golden Boy is really on the cusp, because they have Sinisa, they have Marlene, Sulem, and they got I think they have a deal with Marisela Cornejo. It might be a co-promotion deal with Cancun Boxing with Marisela. I'm not sure, but I've always been into it, and I actually follow David Avila, who's a journalist who's on Twitter and writes great articles, and he always does a good job promoting the Golden Boy fighters that are women. So I'd also like to mention that San Diego right now has an Olympian, and she goes by the name The Boss, and she's Juan Medina's daughter, who has a gym here locally in Chula Vista, and her name's Andrea Medina. So keep an eye out for her. We got, you know, she's in the Olympics, and she's in from San Diego back to Colorado Springs, and look out for her.
There you go, man. And that's we got to start following them more, man. You know what I mean? Look, I know all the big channels here on YouTube. I know a lot of them personally. They rarely talk female boxing, bro. Like, and that's me included. Like, I'm not like, it's not like me scolding people, and you know, we have to demand it, because if we demand it, they'll give it. Because that's how an economy works. You know what I mean? Now they got to expose it to us too. You know what I mean? At the same time, but let me tell you something, man. It's time to support women's boxing for sure. Hey, Ryan Garcia. Hey, GFunky.
Yo.
Your boy finally signed it. That God damn, bro. Like, this dude was like 200,000. I want more, man. This dude's like John. Like, we have the Mortal Kombat theme going on. That dude's like Johnny Cage, bro. Like, you know what I mean? GFunky's like Johnny Cage right now with those glasses, bro. Hey, but tell me, what's going on, bro? Well, what's going? Like, how do you feel about the fight? It's unofficially official. Yeah, like the WBC said it's official. So I'm just gonna fuck it. I'm just exclusive. Okay, there you go. But just how do you feel about that fight?
Breaking news.
I'm just gonna flat out tell you right now, GFunky. I think Luke Campbell's gonna win this fight, bro. But how do you feel about it? Because I think the British dude is gonna shock the world. That's what I think. Everybody's counting him out. That's what I think.
Well, it shouldn't be a shock, because, you know, he should be favored. He's you know, the more experienced guy, and he's the Olympic. I think he won gold, right, in the London Games or something. So
yeah.
He's no joke, man. And this is a major step up for Ryan Garcia. And I just want to say this, since he's so into his social media platforms and things like that, if he's putting it out there, then it must be official. You know, breaking news, exclusive. Ryan Garcia says he's fighting Luke Campbell. But
right. If it's on the internet, it's true.
Right. I'm glad that he got the fight, and he's fighting Luke Campbell, who's a good fighter. I'm picking Ryan Garcia to win this fight. I think he's going to win, but I think it's going to be very competitive. A lot of questions that I have about Ryan Garcia, and a lot of questions that I have about the Reynoso. You know, I made a video about that recently, about Eddie Reynoso, and how I think he's, you know, overrated as a coach. We're going to find out if he's able to get this kid, whip him into shape, come up with a great game plan, and execute this game plan on a really, really good boxer. So all my questions are going to be answered, man, and that's what I want. I want to see how good this kid is. He's finally stepping up to the plate, so I'm all for it, man. I like it.
What do you think, Sonteo? What you think about this matchup, man?
Just to follow up with GFunky, we're going to see what Reynoso can do. I think he's the opposite of Oscar Valdez, who's struggling a little bit with Reynoso. I think Ryan has that fast twitch movement, just like Canelo, and they can get out of the way of punches and see things coming a mile away. So I'm gonna lean towards Ryan winning the fight.
Okay, all right. It's like that, huh? All right. I thought when we signed the contract, you were supposed to agree with everything I said. No, that wasn't the deal.
It's 2-on-1, baby, 2-on-1.
But wasn't that like the deal? No, that I missed something. No, but I told you before the show, you got to agree with everything I say. So no matter what, if I say the sky is pink, you got to say it's pink, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? But now I think, look. He ain't gonna knock out Luke Campbell. If you guys could forget, he ain't gonna knock this dude out in the first 2 rounds, right? No. And if it happens, come back, edit this portion, and then show the knockout and clown it all you want. It ain't gonna happen. Okay?
If it happens, it's because he's HCP Wolfpack, baby. That's right.
Man, look, man. Let me tell you something. No, he's not. He's Hollywood, bro. First of all, and I'm going against him.
I drafted him, bro.
Are you sure about that? No, I got it.
Hey, you got to check the paperwork, brother.
But either way, let me tell you something. I think that Luke Campbell, right, with his jab and he's got really good boxing pedigree, all right? He's really good at going to the body, and that uppercut can provide a lot of problems for Ryan. Plus, if Ryan is tucking that chin, a textbook guy like Luke Campbell's going to expose it, bro. It's only a matter of time. He was catching Lomachenko at times. Now, Lomachenko won the fight, but it was competitive. He was winning most of the rounds, but they were all pretty competitive, So, and I think people forget that. They forget that Luke Campbell, what is he, 5'10"? He's a tall guy for the division. He knows how to utilize his jab. And Ryan Garcia is looking for birds in the arena or something. His chin's up here, like Dave Duena says. Okay, shout out to 97.
Yeah, he hurt Lomachenko in that fight also with a nice body shot and an uppercut to follow that. Lomachenko was in a little bit of trouble. I think it was the 7th round that happened. So that goes back to Reynoso. He's got to correct that, man. And if he doesn't, it could be a long night, man.
Let me ask you something, GFunky. If he has Ryan Garcia, Lomachenko, all right, has a more amateur pedigree than Ryan Garcia, and he's been fighting high-profile fights, better fighters than Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? Does Ryan Garcia survive that if he gets hurt like that against Luke Campbell?
That's hard to say because we've never seen him. We never seen his chin tested. We never seen if he could take it to the body. So that's why I said my questions, which are, can he take a good punch? Can he take it to the body? Can he tuck that chin? Can he execute a game plan for more than a couple rounds when he's only went 1 round twice now in his last 2 fights? So all these questions are going to be answered, man. And that's what I love when I see these guys step up to the plate. These young guys, man. Now we're going to see.
Yeah. Plus, I'm in a win-win. If I win, my prediction is right, and if he wins, HCP Hollywood wins. I'm talking about. So that's what it's all about. All right, Sulem said, I want to see Garcia Campbell, but I don't know that it will happen. He will probably outbid himself again. Man, dude, is that dude?
Ryan.
He said it's on. That's why I said it's unofficially official. All right? Only in boxing can you say unofficially official, and when we're all talking about it, it's going to happen. All right, but yeah, we'll see. Johnny Cage has to sign a contract, GFunky.
Well, let's get this thing done, man. Get that pen to the paper. Let's do it.
That's right. Hey, man. Now I want to give credit to where the interview happened. It happened on Barbershop Conversations, but Gary Russell Jr. is calling out Crawford, bro. Look, I had to laugh when I heard this. I'm sorry. What is he going to do to Crawford? What is he going to do? Like Crawford's gonna hold his head, bro. And he's gonna hold his head. Like you know, like when your little brother tries to fight you and stuff, you just hold him back. You know what I mean? But like, what is he gonna do to Crawford? Come on, what's he gonna do to Crawford, bro? Oh, because he beat. Like here we go with another sparring story. I got the best of him, and I sent him to the hospital after sparring. Okay. Yeah, okay, guy. Yeah, Spadafora got the best of Floyd. Okay, like what's with these? Like we're talking about practice, bro.
Hey, I was just gonna say that Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice, not a game. For practice.
I can't take this serious, bro. Like, first of all, you got dudes talking about how he better fight a real welterweight. I don't want to see him against Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor and all that bullshit. He better fight a real welterweight. But you're talking about him fighting Gary Russell Jr., bro.
What a joke. What a joke, man. And if Crawford takes this fight or even entertains the thought of having a real boxing bout with Gary Russell Jr., I don't know. I just don't know about the dude. But I did see him respond to Russell's statements.
And he's what Urbina put. You know, I told him he's gonna.
Yeah. That's exactly what he said, and that was the much cleaner version that she put there of what he said. But he said, "I'm gonna break your effing neck, and we ain't got to fight in the ring." He said we could fight on the street.
Thank you for keeping me monetized, GFunky. Thank you very much about that. For that. All right, man. Hey, Sonteo, well, what are your thoughts of Gary Russell Jr.? Duking it out with Crawford? Like, what weight class would do the fight in? Like, what's going on over here?
When I think of Gary Russell, I just always think of him having to do extreme things to try to get people in the ring with him. I think of inactivity, and it always comes back to that. It always comes back to what he did to Leo's dad, and it'll never sit well with me. And family's everything to me. So. It doesn't help that Leo's dad looks exactly like my dad. They look identical. Man. So it always rubs me the wrong way. And here we go again, just having to do something out of character to try to get somebody in the ring with you. But Crawford, how many are there, like 4 or 5 divisions away from each other? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I will say though, I thought Leo should have fought him, but I would have fought him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, if I was a fighter, like I'm not going to get in a ring with like a fighter right now, but if I was a fighter, I would have got in a ring with him. But I'm just, I don't know. Like he's definitely having trouble finding fights. You know what I mean? It doesn't help that he is a difficult fighter to fight. I mean, you got to bring your A game if you go in there. I mean, probably not Crawford at 147, but anyone in and around his weight class, definitely. But, maybe it's time to go to 130, man. Just go to 130, try to get something there. Because 126, I mean, Shakur Stevenson just moved up. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the answer is, but he definitely has to. Like, I want to see him get some fights. He's a great talent. But we got, like, calling out Crawford is not healthy. Because if they make that fight, bro, he's going to get seriously hurt. And all you do is egging the fight on. Like, hey, I get him. You're like, what are you guys talking about, bro? Have you seen that meme of that little dog, like, holding back the other little dog? And he's like, hey, it's Pitbull way. It's Pitbull. Like come on, dude. A Yorkie, like, calling out a Pitbull to a fight, bro. Like dude, go fight the other Yorkies, bro. All right, chill.
Dude, in the spirit of this whole NWO thing that we got going on here, do you remember when Kevin Nash fought Rey Mysterio?
Yes, I remember that.
That was actually here in Sacramento at the old Arco Arena.
He took his mask, bro. Is that what he took his mask?
Took his mask and they gave him the jackknife power bomb from like 10. That's what Crawford would do to Gary Russell.
He'll take his mask, bro. He'd be like, hey, man, that fake ass actor put it on. Let me take the shit off, bro. That's what he would do to him.
Yeah.
Sonteo, like, do you have any idea what he should do? Like, what do you think Gary Russell should do, bro? Because he's calling out welterweights now. Arguably the best welterweight. Like, what's going on?
I remember the last time he fought. The person I remember him fighting is JoJo. I think they fought somewhere on the East Coast. JoJo has a belt now. Go get JoJo's belt. You beat him in the past. Call that guy out. Why are you calling out Deontay Wilder and Terrence Crawford?
I got a line for him too. What was the cut of JoJo's hair again? Was it blonde? Like what
yeah. It was bleached or something like that. Yeah.
To go tell him, bro, I'm gonna knock your hair black again, bro. Like, get the fuck over here. Okay. but like this is, I'm gonna share this with you guys. Okay, give me a second. This is hilarious. This is this dude calling out Crawford. Okay. Right now. Espérate, güey. Es Pepo, no mames, güey. Déjame que lo desmadro. Like, somebody keep this dude away from a fucking welterweight, bro. What are you doing? Like, come on, dude. All right? But that's right. All right. Sulem says Gary Russell's a new one time once a year. Yeah. Just one time. Call one time. Gary one time Russell. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Once you see him, well, see you next year. You know what I mean? But check it out, man. Mayweather's on this I get no credit tour. You know what I mean? Like, look, dude, I'm sick and tired, and I'm only bringing him up in a segment. The name's not in the title. I know there's exclusive. Mayweather says this. Like everything Mayweather says, it's like, I don't know if it's gospel or like breaking news. Like, he'll say anything, and it's all over like boxing say. You know what I mean? Hey, Floyd, what do you think of Mike Tyson? Like, everything's about him, everything. What do you think about Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones? Well, don't forget about who made, what do you say? Like, who made,
I forgot what he called it.
He made exhibition fights a big thing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, bro? Like, Ali was in exhibition fights.
Yeah, he fought Antonio Inoki back in the 70s. Yeah. So
you were still in your daddy's nutsacks when Ali was fighting in fucking exhibition fights. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? What do you mean? He was in his daddy's nutsacks. Like, I get no credit. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Your daddy
was born. I get no credit for being born. He told a fucking doctor. Okay? I just beat 1 million sperm and nobody gives me my credit. Like, this dude wants credit for everything, bro. Right? Hey, your nephew was born. But hey, don't forget who made being born like the thing. Like, we're gonna say GFunky.
So he was in his daddy's ball sack when he was getting knocked out by Sugar Ray Leonard. That's when Ali was doing his thing against Inoki, right. You know. And it's crazy, man. This guy is such an egomaniac, you know. Like, dude, I'm starting to. Some of these guys on YouTube that I follow, a few years ago, they were saying, "Floyd, just go away, man." And I'm starting to get that way, man. Like, dude, if you're not gonna train guys, if you're not gonna promote guys, you know what? Just go away, okay? Like, it's just
aren't you promoting Tank? Like, what are you doing? Go promote the Leo Santa Cruz Tank fight. What are you doing? Right? Even in those press conferences, hey, don't forget who holds a record for pay-per-view. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, stop, dude. Stop. You know, like, it's getting annoying. Like, everything. He did say in an interview that he gets no credit for the Pacquiao fight. None of you motherfuckers get credit for that fight. How about that? Right? You made us wait 5 fucking years and charges $100 to watch a glorified sparring match. I've seen sparring matches tougher than that. They threw their less. You guys know that both of them threw the less amount of punches that they had in their whole career.
Yeah.
For a 12-round fight, obviously. You know what I mean? That's crazy, bro. Like the hell with both? Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least Pacquiao's still fighting. Pacquiao just fought Thurman and shit. Yes. Oh, well, Pacquiao fights because he has to fight. I don't have to fight. Dude, go away, bro. You don't have to talk. Okay, how about that? God damn, it's getting old. It's getting old. It's getting old fast. Right?
Yes, it is. And that fight was terrible. The only thing that came out from that was any positive, at least here on YouTube, was that a lot of these extreme Pacquiao fans went away after that. Some of them got a little bit worse, but the majority of them went away. You know,
not even, bro. Actually, that was Marquez, bro. Marquez did that. You know what I mean? When Marcus knocked out Pacquiao,
a lot of them went away then too. Yeah, but they came back strong as soon as that fight was announced. The Mayweather, now we're gonna finally see he's gonna knock him out. I mean, the fight was boring, but we did have a few guys that were still doing the slow motion thing, after that fight. But for the most part, they were gone, and I was glad because, like I said this before, I just came here to talk boxing when I first started 10 years ago, and either one, whoever lost, that majority of their fan base, this crazy fan base that they had, was going to go away, and that was all good with me, man.
Yeah, dude, and you know what I do? I hate when he does this. It's like, I mean, I'm not here to take away from anybody. I have nothing but respect for Muhammad Ali, but I mean, if I lost to a guy with only 8 fights, they wouldn't give me credit for beating him in the rematch, and like that's only Spanx, bro. Like he makes it seem like this is just like some random dude, and he makes it seem like Ali was in his prime or some shit, right? I mean, come on, what are we doing? All right, it's just look. Let me tell you something. Floyd was a phenomenal talent, okay? I can't take away his abilities in the ring. Like, nobody can take that away from him. No matter how much you dislike him, it doesn't matter, okay? But the reality is he is acting like an insecure little bitch, and I'm just going to say it, okay? If I get demonetized for that, it is what it is. Everything screams insecurity. I don't get credit for this. I don't get credit for that. Sugar Ray Leonard beat Duran, and nobody gives me credit for beating Marquez. Like you know what I mean? Like what are you doing, dude? It's everything is nobody gives me credit for this, nobody gives me credit for that, and like he keeps it's for how long are you going to be talking about that? You know what I mean? Like, for how long do we need to hear this? How about you do us a favor, and if you're going to be a promoter, actually promote the fighters you're promoting. All right. Like I'm just saying, and I'm tired of these. Like people give like Mayweather a list. You already know he's going to put himself number 1, right? like this big moment, he'll start at number 5. Oh, Chavez, and number 1. Well, me because I never lost. You know what I mean? Well, why isn't Calazag in the damn list then? Why isn't Marciano on your list?
Yeah, should be right there. All 3 number 1. They never lost. Yeah, Finito Lopez, right? And it's funny,
dude. And I think there's a guy in the lower weight class like 51-0 right now.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah.
TBE, baby. I mean, hey, he's 51-0. 51 tried, and 51 failed. There ain't no blueprint, right? TBE? Why ain't Finito Lopez in your list? Why ain't he on your list? He never lost.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, why isn't he on your list?
I've never heard of him.
Yeah. But, hey, what are you going to do? All right. Anyway, you guys have any thoughts about Sonteo? Any thoughts about Mayweather? Recently being out there in the media, quotes, they're quoting him.
I unsubbed a long time ago. I don't follow him on social media. It's crazy what he says sometimes, and I can't deal with it. He's too much. Like you said, he did amazing things in the ring. He did fantastic boxer, but just some of the things that he comes out with is just too wild and too crazy that I don't need that in my life. So I unsubbed probably a year or 2 ago, and haven't gotten back on.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I didn't miss him.
Hey, look, like when he came out and he said, "Hey, man, I'm done boxing fighters. Like I'm too old for these young guys." I respected that. A couple of months ago, he came out and said that. Okay. And he said, yeah, that's why I'm boxing like MMA dudes, But at the end of the day, like, don't at the same time, like, what do you mean Pacquiao's boxing because he has to? You do it because you want to. Like, well, what does that even, like, maybe Pacquiao just wants to do it. You know what I mean? And stop hating on the dude. Just because he's doing what you don't want to do right now, getting in there with some young lions, like, I'm going to give Pacquiao credit for that. All right?
Yeah.
If Pacquiao fights Crawford, I'm giving a hell of credit for doing that. I'm just telling you right now. So, like, there's people like, I don't know if I'm going to give him credit. Don't, like, come on. All right? So, with that said, I already talked about this. I really want your guys' thoughts on this. Spence versus Danny Garcia GFunky, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I love it, man. I love this fight, and I'm very, very anxious to see how Spence does his first fight after the terrible accident that he had. Danny Garcia is, man, hey, he's no joke, man. He's a top 10, no doubt about it, at the welterweight division. He's got good power, and he's got great timing on that left hook that he throws, the no look left hook, as a lot of people call it. But it lands consistently, and it's just all about timing, man. And Spence is going to have to be very wary of that. So I'm really, really anxious to see how he looks. I've not seen any videos of him training or anything like that. But he looks like he's ready to go. And, he's going to have to be ready to go because Danny Garcia is not an easy fight for anybody at welterweight. But with all that said, if Spence is, okay from the accident and things like that, I'm going to take him to win. But I think it's a good fight. I think we're going to see more of the Errol Spence that fought Mikey Garcia, where he's going to fight behind the jab and keep Garcia out of range. I think he's going to do the same thing here to Swift. To me, Spence has got probably, in my opinion, the best jab in boxing, man. That thing comes straight and quick, and it's powerful, man. He doesn't telegraph it. And I think that's going to be the key to success against a Danny Garcia guy who likes to be either on the inside or mid-range. And I think that's what he's gonna have to do to win the fight. If he fights him the way he fought a Sean Porter, man, that could be it's gonna be exciting, but it could be dangerous for Spence. So I don't anticipate him fighting that way like he did against Sean Porter. But man, I want to see it, man. I really want to see how he does, and it affects what happens with the Crawford fight, if we ever get that. So, hopefully he comes back, he's all good, and he gets the W here. And, I love it, man. I want to see it.
Remember
that. What are your thoughts, bro?
Remember that the accident happened, I think, in October. So he had some time to recover. He got the teeth fixed and all that. And then he was planning, I think this came from an interview he did. He was planning to return April, May. And then something happened in the gym where he was not comfortable signing up for a fight before the summer. Then COVID hit, so he's had more time. But I haven't seen any videos of him in training. But everybody wants to know, that's the $1 million question. How did the accident affect Errol Spence? D-Style, you did a great job. When was it, a day or two ago, talking about the breakdown of that fight. So I'm not going to pretend I can do what you do, but that was good. You were talking about the pros and cons from both sides. So we're all interested in this fight. But GFunky just mentioned something that struck me. This could affect a lot of what happens between Spence and Crawford. That fight might fall apart because of this, So we'll see.
Man, if Danny Garcia, what's going to be interesting is if Danny catches him flush, not just like with a hook, a no look hook, all right, like right in the jawline or where the teeth are, like right here. Like I know he has a mouth guard and everything, and Spence acts like he has like a weird reaction to it, he's in trouble. You know what I mean? Because we just don't know. That's the X factor here. Because he's going right in there, man. I thought he was going to have a tune-up. I'm just going to keep it real. I thought he was going to come back with a tune-up, kind of see where, kind of project where he's at and stuff, and then go at it, But I'm surprised. You guys can catch my breakdown at A Puncher's Chance. It's last night's video. Make sure you guys check that one out, okay? I'm trying to get Ashy back on. We need more fights, of course. But as boxing comes back, more of the shows will start coming on, and we can get the Puncher's Chance on here. All right? Back live with Ashy Knuckles. Shout out to him. You guys are tuning in to the July 29th edition of Hispanics Causing Panic. And shout out to everyone that'll be listening on the Leave It in the Ring network, listening on demand. All right? You guys can catch that on all podcast platforms. Okay, it's going to be on iTunes and GFunky listens to all those, right? iTunes and what else? Podbeam and
I try to, man. I try to.
iHeart, like that's the one GFunky. Like, he likes iHeart, right? But we're on all of them.
I got enough music of my own, so you know.
That's right. All right, check it out, man. Shout out to you Canelo fans, all right? Anyway, shout out to
boy.
Not a prophet. Edgar Berlanga, we just talked about him, all right, last week. And he says he's ready for Canelo in 18 months, bro. I don't know why he picked 18 months, all right? Well, why not 17? You know what I mean? Whatever it is, but Sonteo, I like your reaction. What do you think, man? He wants to duke it out with Canelo. 18 months. He wants 18 months now.
So I did some research on the guy.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
gonna compare him to Vergil Ortiz, right? Roughly around Vergil Ortiz, 22 years old, Berlanga 23, right? Both 15-0, one of them 14-0, right? Okay, so if he's been knocking everybody out, he's got 15 rounds of pro experience. Vergil Ortiz, in 16 fights, 45 rounds of pro experience. Vergil Ortiz just experienced hurting Sammy Vargas and Sammy Vargas grabbing Vergil's feet and pulling them from under him and both of them falling onto the canvas. Vergil Ortiz is fighting top level competition, development competition. He just fought and went past 6 rounds. He had never been past 6 rounds before. So I like that those things are happening to Vergil Ortiz. Vergil Ortiz is getting in there with guys that are going to do some tricky stuff and going to do things that force them to survive. Like some dude grabbing your feet and knocking you on your rear end. And Jack Reese told him when Sammy Vargas defended himself and said, hey, I did it for this reason. BS. Stop doing it. You're earning time because he's hurting you. Get in there. So Berlanga, if he's saying this, you might want to, I don't know, talk to your manager or talk to your trainer before you put statements like this out, because Canelo. I'll leave it at that.
Yo, Chicano says, at least Berlanga gave Canelo his props as the best fighter in the world. Bruce Gold says, salute to HCP. Hey, yo, GFunky, who's down with HCP?
Everybody.
Literally, it's still, there's sunlight outside in California right now, bro. It's crazy, bro. It's 9:26 over here. It's dark, right? GFunky's out in the sunlight, right? What do you think, man? What do you think? You're the Canelo hater, so is he going to knock out Canelo? What's going on?
Man, let me tell you, Canelo fans, something, man. This dude's going to stretch Canelo, all right? Nah, I'm just kidding. I got to get him worked up before I say what I got to say, you know what I'm saying? But you know what? Here's one thing, man. When we're all coming up in the world, you know, and when we get to that age where it's time to start driving, you know, like you get in the car and there's the first couple things you learn is, hey, there's a gas pedal, there's a brake pedal, right? Well, this dude Berlanga, he's all gassed right now, but you know what? It's time to pump the brakes, all right? You're just not ready for Canelo, okay? I know you've been knocking everybody out, but just like Sonteo just said, man, like you need more rounds, you need more experience. You need to experience more things in the ring, you know, than just going in there and knocking guys out in one round. So I'm not for it right now, or in 18 months, or 19 or 20. No, I'm not for it in that time period at all. If he's smart, right, and he wants to think about it business-wise, you got Canelo, who is, you know, the #1 guy in the sport right now. He's the top money guy. And you got Berlanga, who's a Puerto Rican. He's coming up. People are getting excited about him for good reason. You know, he's in there knocking everybody out in one round. So, of course, you know, that's going to excite people. If you could just build that fan base, build things up for yourself, get in there, get some good fights, get some good names, that right there would be a great fight. You'd have a guy in Canelo who's probably be about, I don't know, maybe 32, 33 at that time when I feel like Berlanga will be ready. You'd have Mexico versus Puerto Rico, and we all know how big those fights are, man. That would be huge, especially if the kid stays undefeated by the time that this happens. But you know what? Again, pump the brakes, do your thing, get in there with some good get some good experience in, get some rounds in, and then we'll talk about it. But right now, no, sit your ass down and just take it easy for right now, okay?
That's right. I think he's ready. Put him in, says no Paul. No Paul, like, do it now. Let's get over with. Right? He says the C on HCP stands for criticism. The response to that is what, GFunky?
That was all it took was just one line to get this guy worked up,
That's right. Well, business wide, I thought we were done talking about the business of Chicano. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk business, but what I'm saying is, for these guys, it makes sense. If he continues to be this big knockout sensation, that'd be a huge fight. And who doesn't want? I mean, we're all three of us are Mexicanos here, man. So of course we want to see Mexico versus Puerto Rico. That's a huge rivalry, the best rivalry in boxing. So yeah, hell yeah, let's pump it up that way,
All right, BMB on here. How's it going, bro? And by the way, guys, make sure you throw a jab at the like button if you're listening to archive as well. And shout out to the archive, man. We've been getting listeners on the archive a lot, and also on the Leave It in the Ring network, man. Been doing really good there, so shout out to you guys. BNB says, I think that if Spence doesn't respond in sparring, we won't see the fight. Not in the fight, but if the fight happens, Errol is going to win. That makes sense because he's going to get hit in sparring at some point. You know what I mean? So we will see. All right. With that said, one more thing I want to talk about here. All right, one more thing. There's some beef going on, right? The UFC booked their pay-per-view, all right? The Khabib Gaethje, or what, I don't know how to pronounce that dude's name, okay? And I don't follow MMA like that, but they booked that pay-per-view the same night as Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. Same night. You know what I mean? Now, a lot of people in the boxing media, I saw them. You know what I mean? Like they're talking like, oh man, that's it. Boxing's gonna get destroyed. Like it's crazy, bro. You know? I honestly don't think it's gonna have that much of an effect. I think Tank Leo's gonna do the same numbers they would have done with or without the pay-per-view that night. Right? That's what I think. I think people overstate how much of a crossover there is, to be honest with you. That's why I thought it was a mistake when the Zone, postponed the fight, right? Well, what happened there? Chicano, your boy, they just left him in the sofa waiting for the UFC to finish, bro, right? And then they had him fight. But I think that was something the Zone shouldn't have done, in my opinion. Right? Because now Dana's like poking. He's like, okay, well, let me put events on the same night. You know what I mean? But what I will give Espinosa is he ain't going to postpone shit. I'm just going to tell you guys right now. Right? Espinosa and PBC ain't postponing shit. Like I'm just telling you that right now. They're going to go on with that night. We can't. It's hard to gauge. Like usually a fight's announced, right? And then you see like, oh, look at the ticket sold. It sold out in 2 days, or only half of the tickets sold. You can kind of gauge a little bit on where the trajectory of that fight. We don't have that right now. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like no man's land. But GFunky, what are your thoughts on this move by the UFC? What do you think it was on purpose? Do you think coincidence? Do you think PBC and Showtime should move the date? Well, what do you think?
That was done on purpose, and I think there was malicious intent behind it. I do. I think that they're trying to take this opportunity that Leo and Tank, first-time guys fighting on pay-per-view. They're going to put their guy, who was one of the top guys, obviously Khabib. Even I know who Khabib is, and I don't even watch UFC. Like I haven't watched UFC in I don't know how long, but even I know who this dude is. So they're trying to, again, I think there's malicious intent behind it. They want to try to do some damage to boxing and say, look, our pay-per-view is going to do better than theirs. I mean, who knows what the numbers are going to be like. But I will say this. I don't think that Leo and Tank fight should even be on pay-per-view to begin with, number one. Right. But, it is. So, of course I'm going to watch it. I'm a hardcore fan. I watch them all. But this just goes again to how bad pay-per-view has gotten, man, over the last 20 years. I spoke about this on my channel where I said, even like in the late 90s when Oscar De La Hoya was the guy, he didn't fight every time on pay-per-view. Like, these were special super fights that were on pay-per-view back then. And that's why a lot of those pay-per-views back then did such great numbers, because there was a lot of build-up, there's a lot of hype behind it. And we're not getting that with a lot of, honestly, this shouldn't be on pay-per-view, Tank versus Leo, but it is what it is. I hope that boxing fans, the hardcores, stick to boxing, because I'm just getting tired of hearing these UFC dudes try to trash our sport and things like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to watch the Leo versus Tank fight before I watch any of the UFCs, and that's just the way I do it, man.
Brusco says, in my house, boxing comes first. No votes, no nothing. Like, you ain't gonna take no vote. It's probably I pay the bills, bro. I pay the cable bill. I'm more right. UFC has 3 super fights coming this year since 92 a coup. And no Paul's saying UFC's taking over, bro. He's like, all his family watches UFC. You know what I mean? Look, obviously, well, UFC's doing a lot right now, and they took advantage of a situation where there wasn't a lot of going on, no sports, right? And now team sports after what was it, the Marlins? That they all tested positive and shit. Like, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah, right? I don't think MLB is gonna finish their season, man. It's just not looking good.
Oh man. So I don't know about that. And now we have a fight card soon. I don't want to give a lot of details, right? And I want to get somebody on regarding a fight card happening in August with a crowd, bro. I think that's I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I know Sonteo's going to be over there, like with his mask on and everything. I don't. He said book a hotel, but in all seriousness, here's my thoughts on this. Number one, if Showtime feels this is a fight that could sell and they could make a pay-per-view out of it, because I could see why some of them are pay-per-view, GFunky, and that's because Showtime has a budget, right? There's only so much they want to spend on fights, right? And they're kind of working with PBC, and they say, you know what? Let's put Santa Cruz Tank on pay-per-view, and if it does 250,000, 300,000, we could break even, but we could still host the fight. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thinking behind it. But my question is, does it make, like, I don't know what the threshold is. A lot of people come on here and they pretend to know, like nobody knows, right? People came on here and like, oh, the Wilder Fury fight, man, lost a lot of money, man. My friend Joe Beep calls Bob Bear. I'm like, I don't know what Fox made. Like, I don't know how they know. Okay, and that was half of the deal. But we're good. He said we're good, bro. Okay, they're swimming in money over there. But my point is, it's not so much about this fight's not on pay-per-view, so it could get 1 million buys. You know what I mean? It's not a mega fight like the ones GFunky was talking about. It's about fitting fights into the schedule and looking at their assets and what they can invest into it. And at the end of the day, that's what this is. Me, I'm telling you where my pockets lie, and I'm going to buy this fight. I'm going to support Leo Santa Cruz versus Tank Davis. And Floyd, you're Tank's promoter. So you have like millions of followers on social media. Talk about the damn fight, dude. All right? Like, seriously. I'm just saying. Now, granted, another thing I want to say, look, man, those pay-per-view numbers from the UFC are bullshit, bro. I'm sticking to that, right? like I'm just telling you, those are worldwide numbers, right? So let me just break it down for you guys really quick, right? The Fury Wilder fight was on pay-per-view in the UK as well, not just in the US. All right. I don't know how many it did. Let's say it did 500,000. I don't know the number, but let's say it did 500,000 in the UK. I think it probably did more. If anybody knows, put it in the chat. The numbers that were released to us, you know, the 850,000, whatever it was, those are US numbers. US, domestic. All right? Domestic buys. If you add 500,000 to 800,000, you got 1.3 million. Okay? So it just depends on how you release the numbers. Like I'm just saying, like it depends how the numbers are released. So, and here another piece of evidence for you. When McGregor versus Mayweather happened, right? I don't know 92 coup. I said I don't know, bro. Like, fact check it for me, bro. I thought you were the new fact checker. What's going on with 92 coup, bro? He said, I'm the new fact checker. I'm taking over AJ10. Like what's going on over here? Right? But at the end of the day, you know, Dana White came out and he said, oh, McGregor Mayweather did 6.5 million. Like something crazy like that. I remember I heard that. I'm like, whoa, what the that's crazy. Showtime came out and they're like, nah, it did 4.2 million. You know, that's what it did. It's still amazing numbers. But Dana was giving non-domestic numbers. All right. If you do that with Mayweather Mayweather did like 1.5 million in the UK alone. And then 900,000 here. You could say it did 2.4 million if you want, by that logic. All right? I'm just saying. Okay? Teddy says, I think y'all think this fight ain't doing at least 200K. Y'all crazy. In the black community, Tank has crossed over. We will see. I hope. You know what I mean? I hope.
I'm right there with you, man. And that's good information. I would have never thought that, but if the black community, like you say, comes out and supports him, we always support, our fighters too. So it should do good numbers. That's good to hear. That's music to my ears,
300,000, from the black community orders and 300,000 for Latino. That's 600,000 right there. You know what I mean? Like it's about coming out and supporting. And I got to call out a lot of you boxing fans. All right. I know a lot of you are going to stream it. Let's keep it real. Right? You're over here quitting. Oh, this fight, pay-per-view, and then you're going to stream it. So, hey, do what you got to do, but I'm just saying, let's keep it real. You know what I mean?
Man, support the damn fight. Stop acting weird. Stop being fanboys of this promoter or that promoter, all right? Stop the BS. Support boxing, man. You're a boxing fan. Yeah. Stop playing games.
Absolutely.
I think Tank had a good turnout in Atlanta. So I think that shows his popularity, and I think Atlanta was the perfect city to take that last fight to. And I think Leo has always put butts and put rear ends in chairs wherever he fights, especially in Las Vegas or in LA. So I think just Al Heyman was just, said, well, I can't sell tickets to the fights, so it was a perfect market to do pay-per-views. That's my opinion.
Hey, look, man. I think this fight's doing around 250,000. I'm just keeping it real. That's what I think it's going to do.
Hey, but that could make up money to put to give them, to make them feel okay about not getting the gate money, So he's keeping his employees happy. So props to Al Heyman. And this is, I think Leo versus Tank is a perfect opportunity to turn them into pay-per-view.
Yeah. Look, man. I want stars in boxing. So if Tank did, look, let me tell you something. I'm saying 250,000, right? If they come out there, man, this fight did 1 million buys. I'm not gonna come on here and be like, I was wrong. It's bullshit. No, I'm gonna be happy. All right. Of course, you want the sport to do good, but at the end of the day, hey, 92 coup. We rarely get the fights we ask for. This is boxing, bro. You know what I mean? We ask for fights all the time. They rarely happen. You know,
Yeah, these guys are just
man.
finding any excuse to hate. That's all that is, man.
Well, but yeah, that's man. We went through the whole rundown here. All right, GFunky. Tell your mind, bro. Anything you wanted to bring up?
Nah, man, just you know, support boxing. That's all I'm going to say to some of you guys here. I know you guys, and I know 92 AKU. I know you're a big boxing fan, man. So do the right thing, man. Support boxing, all right? Don't be supporting the UFC. And okay, look, we're boxing fans, man. So stick to boxing. That's all I'm going to say, man.
Oh man, he drew the line in the sand, bro. Right? If you guys have any questions in the chat, shoot them. We rarely get time for the Q&A section. Look at these notes, bro. I mean, goddamn, I got the best notes. Like you know, these are the undisputed, like championship notes right here. Right? I'm saying. Right?
TBE notes, TBE.
Hey, look at that, bro. Hey, he uses that Sharpie, bro. That's what I'm talking about right there. Right? That's right. That's right. Make sure you guys throw a jab in my like button. Let's get to the 40 likes, man. Yeah, you guys got to start getting me to the 40 likes. These shows are too good for you guys not to get me to 40 likes. I'm just telling you right now. Not a two is probably withholding the like right now. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But if you guys have any questions, shoot them now. All right, for any of us. Right? Just want to ask them some like weird questions. Okay, I'm saying.
T-Sal, can I bring something up?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Vergil Ortiz brought up two names, Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman. But I think we know how the business side of things run, and those are maybe a year away, you know, just with how things are going. You know, you start mentioning their name, and then, you know, the way boxing is, eventually you get them in the future. And somebody was saying something about Rashidi Ellis being like 18-0, and also with Golden Boy and that being an easy fight to make. But I don't think that's it could be a good fight. I don't know enough about Rashidi Ellis to say whether that's a good fight next for Vergil Ortiz. But here's two names that I think would be good for 16-0 Vergil Ortiz, 45 something rounds in, just took care of Sammy Vargas, just went 7 for the first time. How about somebody like Amir Khan or Andre Berto?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, I'm going to keep it real, bro. Vergil will hurt Andre Berto, bro. Like, he'll hurt him bad. Like, Andre Berto
he knocks them both out.
Dude, it's too telegraphed. You know what I mean? And it's a bad matchup for him. I'm just gonna say that. You know what I mean? Shout out to Lion K McElroy on Facebook. Well, we're also live on Facebook, by the way, guys. But shout out to everybody watching on the Facebook group. Make sure you join the D-Style Boxing Facebook group as well. Hey, look. He just like that's it's a good fight to me, but it's bad. You said who else did you say? Berto and who else?
Amir Khan.
Oh man. It's a good fight to make, but Amir's going to sleep. Amir's going down in 4.
Amir's going to have an early bedtime that night.
And I'll tell you why. Look, Amir Khan he looks good. Okay? Like he looks like $1 million. But he's a pattern fighter, bro. Like he fights in the same patterns, like over and over again. Like Vergil Ortiz is going to catch on to that immediately. You know what I mean? He's going to time, like just like Danny Garcia did. Like he got the timing down. Crawford figured him out in the first round. Like I remember people were telling me, nah, D-Style, like Khan's going to give Crawford a lot of problems, but then Crawford's going to catch him and knock him out. And I said, nah, like Crawford's going to beat his ass the whole fight. And that's what happened. And I have the receipts to show them to you. He beat his ass the whole fight. And I said, look, even if Amir Khan had a granite chin, he was just going to take a beating for 12 rounds. That's it. And I feel like even if Amir Khan had a granite chin, Vergil would just beat him into submission.
And, you know, I got to give credit where credit is due. I know I just talked a little trash to 92 AKU, but he was in my my chat when I was calling the Ortiz fight on Saturday, and he mentioned I think it was a good name, which is Jeff Horn. I think that would be a nice step up for Vergil Ortiz. So credit where credit is due.
Jeff Horn's not gonna go. He's at middleweight right now, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for him to make 147.
Plus, Costa Su's son's about to beat his ass, bro. I know that. You know what I mean? He's gonna fight Costa Su's son, bro. The first name. But
Tim or something like that.
Yeah, I've been watching some clips, bro, and I was like, "Yo, like this is like he ain't walking around with purses and thongs like Chavez Jr. This one's serious." You know what I mean? I'm just saying, bro. Because at first I was thinking, oh, they could put the son of Costa Su and the son of Chavez. Be a good promotion, like the rematch. You know what I mean?
Speaking of Chavez Jr., since you brought him up, like, do you really think he's all there right now? Like, I think there's something going on with him, man. Like, this is not normal, his behavior, you know?
Well, I think, you know, it's 2020, and we all got to be open-minded about, you know, people's choices. Yeah, you know what I mean? Don't demonetize me, YouTube. I gave the right answer. I'm just saying.
I won't respond to that.
Oh, wait, why do I look like, dude? I look like Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer with his pimple on my nose, bro. Right? He's style the red-nosed reindeer. He hosted HCP. Anyway.
Oh boy, there you go.
Well, that's it. What about this one? It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen. They're in the same stable, bro.
Yeah.
They've already said they won't fight each other.
Now, should that be a thing, though?
I don't think so.
I've criticized fighters for years for like, he's my friend. We're not gonna fight, right? You know what I mean? Like
but this one's a little bit tougher because they actually share a trainer. So
right.
What if the business makes sense? Who does Robert go to? Does he go with Vergil?
He goes with
his little brother.
Yeah, I think he goes with his brother.
Of course.
Yeah, but where does that leave Vergil? Virgil's been with him for 7 fights now. Like, and he plans on being with him for the rest of it. He said in an interview he'll probably finish his career with Robert. So what does that do? Does that break that for the rest of his career? Promise?
What about this? Well, what about Vergil Ortiz against Lipinets?
Beautiful.
Nice fight.
First of all, that's a great fight right now. That's a great fight. All right. That's a fight that can make. What about Luis Collazo, veteran?
Luis Collazo,
I think
too.
I think Collazo is a little washed at this point, in my opinion, but I take it. What do you guys think about if they can make this possible with the whole promotional thing? But Omar Figueroa Jr. against Ortiz, I think Figueroa could give him some rounds, man.
I was thinking of that fight earlier because they're both from Texas. I was thinking of that fight.
I think he beats the dog shit out of Figueroa, but I think Figueroa could hang in there for 10 maybe rounds or something like that, and give him some good work.
GFunky, good job.
No Paul will go with Reynoso says no Paul's Team Canelo all day. I'll give him credit for that. You know what I mean? He's not just Canelo, he's Team Canelo.
Anything that's associated with Canelo, it's all good, baby. You know
what? Like, hey, why not?
You know who No Paul is? This is who No Paul is. Have you guys ever seen that movie Coming to America with Eddie Murphy back in the 80s? When he was the Prince of Zamunda, and everywhere he went, they had to throw rose petals in front of him. So he walked on rose petals. Like that's No Paul with Canelo. He's throwing rose petals everywhere for this guy. Everywhere he goes, you got to step on rose petals.
Yo, like he's the one that tastes the food for Canelo and make sure it's not poison, bro. Like, you know what I mean? That's No Paul, bro. He's like, pork. The champ wants chicken. Get out of here! Like, he tosses the stuff out. Get the fuck out of here! You bring him what he asked for, right? That's just what it was, bro. Figueroa's whack. Yeah. Figueroa's a little like fading away a little bit. He's he fought a style that you take punishment. You know what I mean? And I think in the Ugas fight, he ran out of steam after now. No, Ugas is a big dude, so that's probably why, and stylistically. But I don't know if Figueroa is gonna, dude. He's gonna be like a punching bag for Vergil. You know what I mean? The way he stands.
Yeah, but I think the thing is he'll be able to take shots early. You know, I think you'll be able to stretch Vergil out a little bit and give him some good rounds. Give him at least, I'm thinking at least 9-10 rounds will probably stop it, because he'll just be punishing Figueroa. Figueroa might be cut, might be swolled up, but he's tough. He throws a lot of punches. He comes in shape. But I mean, I expect Vergil Ortiz to beat him pretty soundly, you know, but I think it will give him some good work, man.
Absolutely, man.
Golden Boy's going to have to step up, because a lot of offers have been made to a lot of top tier fighters, and a lot of them have declined. So the money is not worth the risk. So Golden Boy's going to have to really dig in their pockets to get a good opponent like Lipinets, you know, make them a good solid offer to entice Lipinets to come in.
What about Delorme? What do you think
Thomas
about
Delorme?
Delorme, yeah.
No, absolutely.
All right.
Delorme's a good one.
There's a lot of fighters that I could look at. What about Ugas?
Ugas is another.
Good fight. Good fight.
I mean, I know Ugas is going to win a regular title. It looks like that's the route he's going. And that's the route they might go with Vergil first before they put him in there with the other champions. So
I was thinking, if Ugas didn't get Crawford for Crawford's other side of the fence or other side of the street fight, that he was going to be the guy to get a crack at Errol Spence on his first fight back. That's what I was thinking, but it turns out to be Swift. Latin Goonies, baby.
Yep. Hey, what do you guys think about the 92 shot a question to us? A Charlo pay-per-view buys. How many pay-per-view buys do you think the Charlo twins will make for their fights? GFunky. You have a guess, GFunky?
Honestly, I don't care what it does. I'm gonna watch it anyway. You know, right. I'll buy it. I'm just saying right now, I'm gonna buy it and support the pay-per-view. But how many do I think? Man, with both of them on the same card, I'm gonna say maybe 3, maybe that's at the most, and probably about 2 at the least. That's what I would say.
All right. What do you think, man? What do you think, Sonteo? You think it's gonna be a pay-per-view success?
I don't know. It depends what you consider a success, but I think the black market will respond. I think the Charles out of Al Heyman's stable of fighters, I think they make a lot of noise. I think they deliver. I think Jermell, the 154, did a fantastic job getting that fight back from Harrison. It was here locally in Ontario. I think Maul doesn't have the resume, but hey, I think Al Heyman has the same problem where people, you know, people aren't signing the contracts to sign up to fight Maul Charlo, the 160. So I think just like Leo and Tank, I think Al Heyman sometimes is a real genius and is going to test the market for these pay-per-view. If I can't give you a check for the gate money, I will give you a check from the pay-per-view money. And now let's put our marketing pieces together and do the best that we can, because we're sitting in this pandemic. So let's test the market. You guys have been with me for a few years. You guys did your thing on Golden Boy, and now you guys have been with me, and we've been using, you know, Tom Brown, and we've been using, all these Lou DiBella and all these other promoters to help you get on cards. So I mean, it's hard to know because Al Heyman doesn't do interviews, but it might be a genius move, in my opinion.
Chicano Prophet says he predicts economic turmoil by October, and that will affect the numbers for sure. I mean, I don't know, man. Those stimulus checks, like they should have aligned them right when the stimulus checks came in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will say, man, it's definitely tough times out there for a lot of people.
Yes.
But I gotta say, man, and Bruce Go said it. A lot of dudes are broke, and it's a hard time paying rent. But hey, if not Tuaku says he's gonna buy it, you know what I mean? And then that's that. I think the fights are good, and if the hardcore fight fans buy, it'll sell at least 300,000. You know what I mean? If the hardcores buy it, you know. And while I'm with GFunk, at the end of the day, what matters is the actual fight. And I think what boxing is at a point right now where it has to rebuild itself, guys. Like, I'm going to tell you guys right now, and listen to what I'm going to say, because you got to listen closely, right? I'll rather a boxing pay-per-view sell 300,000 and have a night of amazing fights and a great main event than it sell 4 million and it's a boring ass night, okay? And it doesn't fucking sell and everybody's pissed off about it afterwards. Because the second one hurts the sport. The first one creates fans.
Yeah.
Right? People say return customers. People come back for more. And just to bring this home, hey, that Mayweather Pacquiao pay-per-view did more damage to boxing than good. I kind of wish the fight never happened. I got to be honest with you. Like if I can go to the future and to the past and stop it, I would from happening. Yeah, we would be here talking about how they never fought and we'd be pissed off about it. But knowing what I know now, done. You know what I mean? So people, like as fans, we have to stop. And like GFunky said, he doesn't care what the numbers do. You know? But I'm sure he wants a good fight.
Damn right. That's all I care about, man, is boxing.
Let's stop
best for boxing
on what it does, and let's focus on what it did for the sport. You know? That's what we got to focus on. How many of those people were happy with the product that they sold? Because if you have 200,000 happy customers, that's better than 4 million pissed off ones.
We've had that before. We've had that before in boxing. How I can't remember how many buys did the Pacquiao Mayweather fight do? Was it 3?
4.4.
Ooh,
that's just domestic too.
Yeah,
that's domestic, bro.
Just imagine if they had that fight back in 2009. Wow, what it would have done then. You know, man, it'd have been crazy.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, you know, that's the moral of the story. You know, regardless of what these fights do, if they give us a great night of boxing and it keeps people like intrigued with the sport and creates return customers, people that keep coming for more, that's going to be better for the sport long term than us doing big numbers. And like UFC did 1.3 million supposedly, right, for the Masvidal fight. Nobody was happy with that fight. They're all complaining on Twitter about it. So at the end of the day, that's what they were doing. Oh, fight was boring. He was just stomping his feet the whole time. And that's what they were talking about. I thought it was boring. I got to be honest with you. I don't want to see a dude lean on against another dude and stomp his feet for a fucking fight. I don't want to see that.
I haven't even seen it. So
good. But at the end of the day, man, this is D-Style Boxing. Sonteo, give us some quick thoughts and final thoughts and tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on social media, on Instagram, @Sonteo_media. You can follow me on Twitter, @Sonteo_media. You can follow me on YouTube, same thing, Sonteo Media. It was great talking boxing. Let's bring women's boxing more into these conversations. Let's continue pumping up these prospects that are working their behinds off in the gym, like Vergil Ortiz. And let's keep doing it on a weekly basis. I love it.
Hey, man, look, I'm guilty, and I'm openly honest about it. I didn't pay attention to women's boxing for a lot of years. Just got like the only time I watched it is like Christy Martin fight because she was on the undercard, a big fight, stuff like that. It's the only time I saw it, man. GFunky, give me some final thoughts.
Yeah, it was great to have Sulem Urbina on. I hope that the women do get more exposure because I feel like it doesn't get enough, and especially for someone like I said myself, a hardcore fan that watches all the fights. Never seen her fight live, and that shouldn't happen,
Right.
So hopefully, we can make some noise with that. You guys all know where you can follow me. Twitter @GFunky84. You can find me here, GFunky84, YouTube. Make sure you go and subscribe, and let's keep this boxing thing going. And you guys support boxing, man. Stop going over to the UFC. All right, support boxing.
That's right, man. If only we had Ruben Guerrero here, right? And he'll set everybody straight, right? But with that said, this is D-Style Boxing. What do we say, G-Funk?
Keep it boxing.
Keep it boxing. We're out.